before the World Cup, it was more of Reece James' sister, whereas after the World Cup, it's more, now it's like, oh, it's Lauren James. I don't want to be remembered as I'm so-and-so's sister.
One of the brightest stars in world football, someone whose game speaks for itself and whose journey is just as powerful as her presence on the pitch.
I came back to Emma. She taught me how to understand myself more, because on the pitch she just let me be me and gave me the freedom.
Lauren James is a generational game changer, an identity-defining figure in the women's game. From those early days balancing schoolwork with her love for football to breaking records with Chelsea and lighting up global tournaments with the Lionesses, LJ's story is one of passion, perseverance and personal growth.
My friends at school, they were like proper girly girls, so they didn't really get it. They're all into like their makeup and dance.
We explore the highs and lows, the hidden chapters of her rise, the quiet support of family and the moments that have shaped her both on and off the pitch. She opens up about pressure, privacy and purpose, about Casey Stoney and Emma Hayes, about legacy, life after football and what truly makes her smile. This is Point of View, this is She's a Baller, and this is Lauren James.
I kind of want to be remembered as like someone who goes to games and that they came to watch me. My name's Lauren James. I'm a professional footballer for Chelsea and England women. I'm here to do a point of view for She's a Baller in collaboration with Cadbury.
So we're going to jump straight in.
Sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about where you're from and what your childhood years were growing up?
Well, I'm from London. Yeah, it was kind of, growing up, I just used to go to my brother's training. Reece was at Chelsea and my oldest brother Josh was at Fulham. And I used to just play at the side of the pitch just for bants. And then I was also playing for a boys' team, Epsom Eagles. I started to get into it. And then when I was 6, I joined Chelsea. I was training with the under-10s, the girls. But because I was too young to play games, I was playing for my boys' team on the weekends. So I'd train with the girls during the week and then play on the weekend with the boys. And then, yeah, did that obviously till I turned 8. But then in the summer, I'd still go play tournaments for the boys' teams. But you just can't say you play for Chelsea, otherwise it's cheating. So yeah, I was like, no, she don't have a club. And just playing tournaments like every year. It was fun. They're probably the best times.
Yeah.
Growing up, after each game you have ice cream, have a pick and mix, and then you go to the next game again. Obviously now you can't do that.
Nutrition isn't quite that fun.
You can't. Yeah, I'd say. And then I'd always be at the back of my house, just always playing football.
So when did they find out that you play for Chelsea? Or did you never let that go and you just sort of carried on playing in the tournament?
Yeah, just carry on playing.
Yeah. Well, what about the teenage years? How did that transition in terms of like your space in football?
Well, I left Chelsea at 13. Joined Arsenal. That was a good setup. Won the Youth Cup with the 17s. Trained with the first team a few times. And then, obviously, Casey Stoney formed with United. And then she was like, do you want to come? And I thought it was obviously a good opportunity. Because if I didn't go there, I probably wouldn't be back at Chelsea now. Because it was good to get experience and make a name for myself by playing senior football. Then while I was there, I received my first England call-up under Phil Neville. And then, yeah, I came back to Chelsea.
So it's full circle.
Yeah.
Who would you say that your biggest role models were growing up?
I'd say my brothers, but I'd also say Eden Hazard.
Really?
Yeah, because I just loved the way he played. But then I think my brothers, because if it wasn't for them playing all the time, I probably wouldn't be kicking a ball.
Yeah, where you are now.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you still would have got into football? Or do you think you never would have kind of crossed your path if it wasn't for your brothers?
I'm not sure, because my dad played, but sometimes it's harder when it's just, when you're the only child, do you know what I mean? So probably helped that they played and I just went along with it.
I mean, there's so many times you can kick a ball at a wall, right? So what about school? Did you enjoy that? Or how did that kind of sit with football? Was that quite an easy setup?
I never really enjoyed school. I'm not much of a talker now, but in school, anything to get away from the work, I'd just start talking. It was always the teacher like, Lauren, be quiet, or she's talking too much.
So you were the distractor?
Yeah. But no, it was all right. I didn't actually like playing sport in school. Like at lunchtime when they're all playing football, I didn't go and do it.
Did you not?
No. I didn't want to sweat and then go back into class. Like, it was just not my type of feeling. And then also I had training in the evening, so I thought I'll just wait till training. And then during my Arsenal days, I'd go to school. I think I'd get 1 day release, so I could go and train with the first team at Arsenal. So yeah, it was quite broken because it kind of, like, it was good because then Arsenal provided a tutor for me for maths and English while I was at Arsenal. So after a training session, but I was knackered. So like my concentration with a tutor, it weren't the greatest. But obviously,
she cared more about actually
football.
Playing. Yeah. Was it like friends and stuff at school? Was that a bit of a flex when you'd be like, I'm off today, sorry guys, because you're off to football?
Not really, because my friends at school, they were like proper girly girls, so they didn't really get it. They're all into like their makeup and dance, and so they didn't really say, I'd just say, oh, I have football. I didn't have to go into detail.
Did you ever go to dance as well?
No.
No? Didn't fancy that?
No.
When and how did you realise that you were good at football?
I wouldn't say realise, I'd just say when a lot of people's like, oh, she's so good, or do you know what I mean? There wasn't like a one moment where I'm like, oh, like I'm good at football. I've kind of just always played. And then I think when you're young as well, is like a lot of people say, oh, when did you realise you wanted to become a professional footballer? But I just think you just do it because you love it, and then that if you're good at it, it becomes your job. It never really crossed my mind like, oh, I want to be a professional footballer. It was kind of just, that's the path.
The trajectory. Yeah. Rather than being like, this is what I'm aiming for.
Yeah.
Just kind of happened, right? Nice. What's one thing you'd say that most people don't know about your journey?
Probably how many obstacles I've had, even from when I was young. Whether it's injuries or past managers maybe not understanding me as a person. Because sometimes being misunderstood ain't easy, because it can come across the wrong way. But that was in like my youth days. I'd say, yeah, that.
You mentioned the importance of family before. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how that kind of integrates in the football world as well, and personal?
When you finish training, you go home to them. The one thing I do with my family is we don't talk about football. Because I think like we live and breathe it. It's like it's our job now, so when we go home, it's like, why are we talking about football? Unless it's on the telly, because that's all I watch. It wouldn't be like, oh, I was training, because I'm just one of those people like, oh yeah, it was all right.
Just leave it there, yeah?
Yeah.
What else is going on?
Yeah. But now, like, my parents, they always took us to training. They always made sure they was there for us. Dad doing extra sessions with us at the back of the house. Mum, she actually wanted to be a paramedic, but didn't go into that. So she just was a nurse because the hours, otherwise she'd be working till 8 p.m. and then can't take us to training. So yeah, they had sacrifices as well for obviously us to get to where we're getting to.
And it's paid off, right? Nice. So on the note of family, obviously this Cadbury campaign, you featured alongside your brother Josh. Can you tell us a little bit more about the support that he's given you? I guess over the years, probably quite a bit of crossover with what you've mentioned about playing with him and stuff.
Yeah, he's like quite the tough one on me. Even like games where I've actually done all right, he's like, nah, it's still not good enough. Like, but I think someone like that is good to have. Like everyone else around you, sometimes they're kind of like, they can be the yes people, like, yeah, you did great, but deep down I know I've got more in me. And he's also that type of person where he's not afraid to say like you've got more, like, so yeah, he helps push me. But we've also got obviously a good relationship, like away from football, whether we're just sending like memes or just banter on Instagram or something.
Is that how you communicate most, by meme?
Yeah,
It's the best way, right?
yeah. With my siblings, it's not really much conversation. So we're just, other than, hi, you're right, yeah, you, it's, there's nothing else. So we've got to throw something else in there, or like, did you see that? Or send him a pair of trainers, or
Who would you say is the core support network that you would turn to for advice?
family.
That is a proper tight network with you guys.
Yeah.
Would you say there's any other friends in that? Or is it very much just a case of like family is?
Yeah, I'd say family. It's a close circle, so.
Yeah, that's fair. Off the back of the Euros and the World Cup, we obviously saw a huge rise in terms of the attention on the Lionesses. What was that like in terms of becoming kind of like household names overnight and stuff? Was that a bit of a shock or hard to deal with? Or did you just kind of take it in your stride?
It was quite weird because obviously the girls that won the Euros before, they had that experience, whereas my first tournament was the World Cup. So then off the back of that, it was a lot of like recognition, like in public, probably more than ever. But I wouldn't really say I was like shocked, or because before that it was because obviously my family name and my brother and stuff, I kind of got a feel of it anyway. Like I started to get used to, oh, do you know what I mean? So the one thing I would say is before the World Cup, it was more of Reece James's sister, whereas after the World Cup, it's more, now it's like, oh, it's Lauren James. And I think that's obviously a good thing because I'm my own person at the end of the day. I don't want to be remembered as I'm so-and-so's sister.
Yeah, I mean, now it's probably Reese's Lauren James's sister. Would you say there's parts of that that you struggle to deal with or that you find hard in terms of just protecting like your own privacy and things like that? Or do you feel like you're quite good at keeping on top of that?
No, sometimes it's annoying because sometimes I just want to be able to just go to certain places and not be known, which is hard because I also struggle with a lot of people around me, which is mad because when stadium's full, I'm not fazed by it. But if I'm in a room with 100 people, like I don't feel comfortable. So when I go to places, it's like I feel like, oh, are people looking at me or are they taking pictures? So it becomes quite uncomfortable, but I guess it comes with being a professional footballer and high profile.
Yeah, they're like safe spaces that you like go there if you want a little bit of quiet time. I mean, even though it's still obviously public, but you're like, I know that I can feel a little bit more comfortable there. Or is there certain places that you're absolutely not going to that today if you're not in the mood for it?
I'd say I base it more off the day of the week. Because then I'm like, well, for example, if I go to Westfield on a Saturday, it's not going to be a good day because it's just going to be rammed. So if I'm going to those type of places, I'd go when it's in midweek, evening.
Westfield on a Saturday is not for the faint-hearted
No, it's
anyway,
not.
let alone Lauren James. That is carnage. In terms of your attributes, that's like your tiny back lift, your pinpoint deliveries. How important is it for you to be able to express yourself on the pitch? And obviously, you just mentioned that even when the stadium's full, do you just zone out? Is that why you don't feel the same feeling that you do if you went into a crowded room than you do in a stadium full of people?
I think, obviously, I'm someone who likes playing in a stadium full of people. I think the whole point of football is the people watching, they pay to come and watch you play. So you need to make sure like you're getting them excited and like off their seat. That's why I play football. I want to make it exciting for people to be like, oh, I want to come back and watch her. Not like I don't want to just be average. So yeah, I'd say the more people in a stadium, the more hyped up I get for a game.
Yeah. I mean, do you see it like putting on a performance as well then?
Yeah,
As much as winning, you're
yeah,
like, I want this to be a good showcase of me playing.
sure.
What would you say is your best attribute on the pitch?
I'd say probably dribbling, taking players on.
The sense of freedom that comes with that as well, right?
Yeah,
You started your own scholarship as well, LJ10. What do you want to kind of achieve from this? And what are your aspirations with having that scholarship program?
basically to help those girls achieve, hopefully, to become a professional footballer. And then in a few years, hopefully, like it builds and more, I have more and more girls on. But for now, I'm just starting with 5. Hopefully, I can give my time to them and, the sponsors that I work with that help them as well. And yeah.
How's it going so far? You got a bunch of ballers there?
Yeah, a
Yeah.
few ballers scoring, and one of them's a keeper, so
Oh, really?
yeah, I'm sure she makes a few saves.
You haven't tried a shot against them then, though?
No.
I was going to say, I wouldn't want to be the end of that either. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about your club journey. So obviously you mentioned earlier that going to United and being managed by Stoney. How was that?
It was hard at first because obviously I was 16 and I moved out of London up to Manchester with a host family, which I loved. I still speak to them now. Yeah, I had a really nice time there. The first 2 years, we won the league, then we got into the WSL. I was enjoying my football, and then I started to get like little injuries. I had a stress fracture in my foot, and then the pandemic came. And then during my time at United, there was always like this phase, where, if when you've got a young body and you're like, you've got puppy fat or whatever anyone calls it. It was kind of like, I always got comments of like, oh, she's big or this and that. So that during that pandemic, I like lost a load of weight, and then it made my stress fracture even worse. So I was out for even longer, and then it was just an ongoing, like it just wasn't healing. And then yeah, I left United with obviously the injury, and then I joined Chelsea, and because I was so nutrient deficient, I then broke my other foot, my fifth met in my other foot, because my bones were so weak from obviously under eating and losing all that weight. So yeah, the first season at Chelsea was kind of hard to get going because I was coming off the back of such a long-term injury. And then the season after that, I think I started to get going. And then, yeah, I think last season was probably my best season. And then, yeah.
How did you find like rebuilding after that? Because obviously that body image thing is something that comes up quite a lot, and I think it's not spoken about in terms of female athletes a lot. And obviously you get so much scrutiny online as it is. So like, was that nutritionists or people at the club that were helping you to kind of realize about like food in your body and your performance and stuff, or did that kind of come more from you understanding in your own body?
I'd say me understanding, but like it's probably taken up until now. And I think once you start with that body image like situation, like it doesn't ever leave you. It's always in the back of your head. It's like a little voice talking to you, but you just get better at managing it. Yeah, I'd say, but it doesn't get talked about a lot because I think a lot of people have it, but just you obviously don't speak about it.
Yeah, and especially in that environment, right? You're constantly on display, and then you're getting weighed, and you're dealing with nutrition and what you eat. And then there's so much of it around the way you fuel yourself and the way you look and stuff. So that's it, yeah. So I think it's a huge conversation that I guess I don't think athletes really probably feel comfortable to have.
Yeah, and I think a girl's natural mind, like whether you play football or not, you're like, oh, I want to look like her. Do you know what I mean? I want to have smaller legs like her, or I want to have bigger quads. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like a circle. It just keeps going round and round.
Yeah, it's a tough one to deal with mentally, isn't it? Obviously, you mentioned coming up to the WSL, so you made history in terms of that time at United. How was that bringing them up? I mean, seeing that kind of success and being a part of that success at the time.
It was quite cool because it was a brand new team, signed, didn't know anyone, like, and it was also so like, I didn't know who was signing, they didn't know I was signing. We just got put together when we met up and signed. And then yeah, from there, we had to do a lot of like team bonding sessions because we've obviously never played with each other. But no, it was really good. I enjoyed it. And I guess I got out of London and it allowed me to focus.
Yeah, kind of throw yourself in the deep end. What were some of those team building activities?
I can't actually remember. Like boxing, like 6 a.m. boxing. I know, it was mad. It's not bit of me, 6 a.m.
Not a morning person. That's wild. That wouldn't get over the line now, would it? Boxing. Interesting. What would you say your highs and lows were at the club?
At Man United,
Yeah.
winning the championship. And then my lows would probably be my injuries.
Yeah. You made the decision to leave United for Chelsea. How did that end up coming about?
Um, well, I think there was like a few talks and then we played Chelsea and I scored. And then after that, the talks like went even further, basically. And then, but Emma's always been like, she's always been like kind of a part of my life since I was 6 years old. So it was just a matter of time because she's always said like, you can come back home whenever.
From your academy days?
Yeah.
You just mentioned them. And what was your relationship with Emma Hayes like? From obviously from the outside, it looked like a very special kind of relationship that you guys have. So yeah, I guess what was it like being managed by her and probably seeing her as a bit more of a mentor as well?
Yeah, our relationship was obviously very close. She was more like a mum in football, but could also tell me like if I've done something wrong. Like she would be on me. But at the same time, I could go in and I could have a laugh with her, which I think is good. Obviously, sometimes it's good to keep it professional, but it got the best out of me, and that's all I care about is performing for the team. And if a bit of banter is what it took, then why not?
Do you think she was one of those like turning point managers for you that felt like you kind of felt proper understood as you in the football space?
I think Casey did as well. She kind of took on that away from her mum role as well. She looked after me, made me feel welcome, was always there. I could call her at any time and she'd pick up. So yeah, and then that's why it was quite a nice transition because then I came back to Emma, who was also similar.
What would you say you learned under your time with Emma Hayes? Like biggest kind of learnings?
I'd say the biggest learnings were she taught me how to understand myself more and like surroundings, and because on the pitch she just let me be me and gave me the freedom.
She knew you were capable of doing that stuff anyway, yeah? So this season, it's in the first season under Sonia Bompastor. How has that been?
Yeah, it was good. It took a while at the start to obviously get used to her different ways. Like obviously all managers, they're different. She's very demanding, but obviously that's a good thing. I think we was unbeaten this year, so it's obviously paid off, and she's very competitive. I don't think I've met anyone more competitive than her, which obviously is another good thing because she's at a club that obviously in the DNA it's a winning mentality. But no, I've enjoyed it and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do.
Do you feel like you noticed the pure transition when she came in terms of like tempo or intensity than if she's like more competitive, or was it just kind of the style was different?
A bit of mixture, I'd say. Yeah, intensity, obviously wants us to press a lot more. And yeah, I'd say different sessions as well. But sometimes change is good.
Do you ever feel like you've come away from training at the beginning and just been like, geez, I'm in bits, feeling like I've been hit by a
Or the
truck?
next day, and I'm like, I'm 23. Why am I waking up like this?
Yeah, classic.
Yeah.
So we'll look a little bit deeper into the club. I guess now is a good time to recognise that sort of, I guess, unsung heroes behind the scenes. Is there anyone that you kind of want to highlight that you would say would brighten up your day or bring positive vibes, whether that's ground staff or the receptionist or someone that you probably wouldn't hear so much about?
Probably my physio who I'm working with. He's just a good guy, and he's one of those people that no matter whether you're having a good day or bad day, how you are never changes with him. Do you get me? So it's like, I don't know, I don't think everyone's like that, and it's just nice that he understands me.
Yeah, that's nice. How do you cope with moments of high pressure or external noise from like the fans and media?
The fans in the media, I see it, but I kind of just let it fly by. Or if there's like loads and loads, then I'll just come off social media.
Do you prefer to just like kind of ignorance is bliss and not see it, then kind of get deep into it? Because I suppose it's one of those things that you can probably just get inside your own head about if you hear what people are saying all the time. When I'm like, you don't really know what's happening, do you?
Yeah, I think at the start I was like that. I think obviously it got to me, but because it's happened so much, I'm like, it is what it is.
And I mean, only you really know your situation, right? When you're in camp, who would you say that no matter what the situation is, will always lift the mood or brighten your day?
Lucy, Bruns, because she's just herself. She's 33, 32, still acts 12. So she won't care if I say that. So yeah, and I think that's why we get along so well. No, she's just herself, and everyone lets her be. To be fair, I think that's why you get the best, how you get the best out of people as well. Just freedom.
When everyone can just be who they are, yeah? Do you feel like you've got a lot closer this season with both being at Chelsea together?
Yeah, a little bit, but we was already quite close. So,
Um, Moving on to some final reflections. Who would you say is the best player you've ever played against?
and I can only name one.
You can have two if you want.
Um, all right, I'll say one. Alexia Patelis.
Just unbelievable or just really difficult to even get past or
She just sees things like she's just a great footballer.
just ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, she doesn't like. She's not someone who's gonna run everywhere like, but she'll pick. She's a moment, and she can put the ball in the back of the net or create a goal, and I really respect players like that.
What is the biggest challenge you face in your career so far?
My injuries, yeah, I'd say, because they're just annoying. I'd say especially this year, because I was out for 3 months. Then I came back, started to get going. Then I got injured again. And at such an important stage of the season, like Champions League semi-finals, FA Cup final. So it's just annoying to be sitting there watching when, that could have been me playing.
Especially when it's something that's outside of your control. I bet it's frustrating because you can't do anything about it, right?
Very.
What would you say your biggest highlight has been
In football.
in your whole career? Yeah. I know that's a bit of a big question.
My highlight would be scoring my first World Cup goal.
Yeah. Do you play that on
Because
repeat
that was
sometimes?
yeah, and the crowd just was mad. The whole atmosphere, I think the whole tournament, the games were just proper.
What would you say is the happiest you've ever been in your career?
So last season, because I was scoring most games. I was doing well with England. Yeah. To be fair, whenever I'm on the pitch, I'm happy. So
Yeah, but that is your escapism, yeah?
yeah,
If you could change one thing about women's football, what would it be?
I'd change that we have the same facilities, like space, as in like building size as the men's.
Yeah, more around equal opportunities.
Yeah.
I know you say that you're very happy on the pitch, but outside of football, what's something that you do for fun that makes you kind of feel carefree in the same sense?
Everyone always asks me this. They're like, so what do you do? And I'm like, because I don't watch telly unless it's football. So they're like, what do you do? I'm like, I sound like a crazy woman that stares at walls. No, I'll go out, I can go shopping, and I got a dog, so play with him, take him for a walk. Yeah. Listen to music.
Waffle, right?
Yeah.
How's life with Waffle?
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does life look like for you after football? Have you considered that yet, or?
No, I've not really thought about it. I'm not sure what I would want to do. I wouldn't mind coaching. But no, probably nothing above 10.
No? The age 10?
Yeah. 6 to 10. But no, I've not really thought about it. Because I like fashion as well, so I don't know. See where life takes me.
Hopefully it'll be a while anyway,
Yeah.
so you've got plenty of time. What kind of legacy do you want to leave?
I'd say I kind of want to be remembered as like someone who goes to games and they came to watch me.
The star of the show.
That's what I want to be remembered by. So I try to do that.
And finally, there's one square of dairy milk left. Who are you sharing it with?
No one. I'm so bad at sharing because I'm like, why don't you get your own? That's the worst when you're with someone and they're like, I'm like, oh, do you want one? Nah. Then when I've got it, oh, can I have some? No, because I just offered you to get your own. So yeah, nah. I'll eat that whole thing for myself.
Cool. I mean, you like that with anything like that sort of stuff?
Anything, yeah.
Because you've offered it, and if someone says no, like you had your
Yeah,
chance.
because I offered to get you a whole packet.
That's mine. Nice. Thank you so much.
Cheers.